And thank you for tuning in to another episode of Nightmare Narratives, the podcast dipped in nightmare fuel and brimmed with horrifyingly haunting stories. We are your hosts, Marta, Joe, and Dylan. Today we journey to the cobblestone streets of Savannah, Georgia, a city known for its dark mysteries and the sinister supernatural. So dim the lights and grab a blanket because this gruesome tale will surely send shivers down your spine. It was a cool moonlit night. An eerie fog hung thick over Savannah's Old Oak Avenue Cemetery, mirroring the drooping Spanish moss and the surrounding trees. The gravestones, withered and worn, seemed to convey the weight of the centuries of sorrow that came with them. In the heart of the boneyard stood an ominous crypt. Within its chained and barred entrance, the shadows clung to the walls like spectral wraiths, creating a darkness yearning for the light. As the legend is told, this crypt belonged to the Riley family, a lineage once tremendously powerful and wealthy, and in turn, doomed by crimes and secrets darker than the moss-draped oaks that guarded their coffins. It is said that only one living person had ever entered the tomb and never came back. Yet, centuries later, on this very night, a silly school game of truth or dare would change this speculation forever.
Emily, Morgan, and Jeremy huddled just outside the entrance, ripe with anticipation, news, and curiosity. The soft glow of their lanterns cast menacing shadows around them. The blackness descending down into the crypt called for them, although they did not feel welcome. A loud metal clank echoed through the misty graveyard as Morgan broke the chains to the crypt entrance. Jeremy and Emily looked at each other, hinting at the regret they both had in their minds. They slowly turned their heads back to see the crypt gate wide open. Morgan was gone. Fear turned to panic while they questioned where Morgan had gone. As they stepped inside, a wall of chilling air embraced them with a hug, causing their hairs to stand on end. The darkness engulfed their lantern light, making their trust crumble in what they could not see. They continued going deeper and deeper, and further away from the entrance. Cobwebs cut into each corner of the stones in the tight corridor, and the air was suffocating with the scent of decay. Emily suddenly froze still as her last scraping step reverberated further ahead of
her. She wouldn't move. Jeremy desperately and violently shook her, asking what was wrong. But she was a statue. Tears started to build in his eyes as one trickled down his quivering lips. Emily's lantern shattered like a firework in her hand, and it was right there and then that Jeremy's fight or flight kicked in. He morphed into a cockroach. Self-preservation was key. In that moment, he couldn't care about Morgan, Emily, his homework due the next day, not even the cobwebs he had swallowed, only his survival. He bolted so hard that his shoelaces started to untie and his calf muscles started to knot. He wailed in horror as he could hear the stomping of an unforgiving presence at his heels. Jeremy suddenly saw the floor getting closer and closer until he didn't. His knees were bloodied and scraped. His lantern was just pieces of glass and plastic, and his vision just saw one color: black. Deep down in Jeremy's heart, he knew his clumsiness had led to his demise. He shot up quickly and braced himself for whatever was chasing him. And then, nothing. There was nothing. The footsteps had been replaced by a void of silence. And even as he cautiously opened his eyes, Jeremy saw what he had seen when they were closed. He trembled like a wet dog on a winter day as the air around him became arctic. Why had this happened to him? Why didn't he just stay home? Why did he play that stupid game of truth or dare? And how was he not at the entrance already? His final question led to an understanding. This was no crypt. It was a labyrinth of despair and misfortune. A labyrinth with no exit. A maze with no prize. A trap for anyone dumb enough to enter the Riley crypt. As he clenched his fists, making his nails sink into his skin, he hoped that this was all a nightmare. Covered in goosebumps, a chill ran down his neck. He felt a hand grip his shoulder, finger by finger, nail by nail. The last thing Jeremy would ever hear was a raspy, unnerving voice that whispered into his ear.